hear us. Only thing they can hear is this intro right now.
Okay. So I'm going to my Facebook, right?
Yep.
And then
Yep. Well, go to the gray area page. You should,
okay,
if
I'm
you already
on. I'm
logged
there.
in. Yep. Okay. And
Yeah.
then go to that video. It should be showing as a live feed right now. And then click. I'm gonna do it too.
Got you.
I notice when we do that, we reach more people.
Yeah. Oh shit.
You should see us sitting.
And you have to,
Yeah, mute
when
the
you go on
phone.
live, you gotta turn your volume down because it'll echo it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you at the,
I'm at the.
you at one of the, so it should look like
Is
this.
he on the?
Right now, you on one of the, so go back up. You on Facebook?
Yeah.
Click out of that. Let me see. Go to the,
Oh, he's on his page, not on your page.
yeah, he has to go to our page.
Go to their page.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I was doing.
Will you make the intro, Ray, today?
Today. Yep. I just want people to have something to
So you play that when?
5 minutes before the show start,
Alright.
and it
So
just
now-
loops. Yep. Till now.
So you just muted this thing?
Yep. We all muted right now. So.
There you go.
I just shared it.
Keep going. There you go.
Yep. Just share that right there.
Yeah.
Got you.
All right.
Share. How do you share that?
You put your-
He goes to the bottom where it says share, then
Oh,
go to
okay.
his page. Yeah.
All right. We about to go live.
It's not. Oh, okay.
Headphones on. Hello, Facebook. Hey, this is the gray area, and we are live right now. We are live. We got some very special guests in the building. This is Ray E,
This is P. Wills. It's your boy Duke.
and we have Ralph Staples, a prominent lawyer in the local area, probably nationally. You probably tell me something I don't know.
Statewide.
Okay, statewide.
He said
Let's get
statewide.
that clear. Statewide, but very prominent. And then we have Geo, John Roberson.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? CIPA,
CIPA, CIPA.
Central Intelligence Protection Agency.
Central Indiana.
Central Indiana Protection Agency.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, dude. I was there when it was just an idea, floating around.
Right.
This thing has grown like crazy.
It is.
It's like wildfire.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we're gonna get into all of that in a minute. I just want to welcome everybody to the gray area. We are live right now. Please take a moment to share this live feed for me, please. If you're tuning in, share this live feed. We want to get to as many people as we can. We're talking about crime, the justice system, education. We have a lawyer, Ralph Staples, in the building. He's going to give us some grave knowledge on a lot of those things. If you're dealing with the justice system right now, or dealing with being incarcerated or crime, or you got a family member, any of that, please tune in and talk to us. Ask us questions. This is the best time to do this. We're going to be having a nice conversation about a lot of things surrounding the justice system and everything. So first, I just want to say that it's wild in America right now. It's wild.
America. And all over the world.
I mean, we could say world, but let's just start where we at right now.
Yeah, man, it's
You know what I'm
country,
saying?
yeah.
We're like the eye of the storm. You know what I'm saying? Where it seems to be, swirling around us, and we it's just like we almost confused. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows what's going on. We got to figure out a way to unify. But it's one thing that I noticed that's been happening a lot more, and I think a lot of it is ignorance. People just don't know. We got to figure out how to connect people with helping them understand the justice system. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even understand the three judicial branches of the government. So, you know, but until they get involved with crime, and then all of a sudden they become, you know, oh, they trying to get us, they're against us. But what we want to do is close that gap and help people understand that if you did something, you committed a crime, life is not over. Life is not over. There's things that you can do. Obviously, that was a blemish on your record. But there's things you can do as a citizen in America to get around those kind of things. Ralph, can you tell us some of the things that you see a lot in this city that are misconceptions when it comes to lawyers, prosecutors, and judges?
I don't know that there are that many misconceptions. It's not many people are ever directly involved in the system. You know, there are a very small percentage of people doing a lot of bad stuff,
Right.
and you know, rarely does the average citizen get involved in the criminal justice system, be they a
Right.
witness, someone charged with a crime, whatever. I mean, there are in excess of 44,000 criminal cases filed every year in Marion County.
Right.
But you'd be surprised how few people are touched by those. Someone breaks in your garage, steals your lawnmower, something like that, then you're involved in the system.
Right.
And then sometimes you're left with a bad taste in your mouth because it's a big, slow-moving machine
Right.
with a lot of parts.
Right.
And we throw the word justice around,
Right.
but you know, it's an illusory term.
Right. Right.
Justice is a nice idea. The criminal justice system is sometimes about just processing cases,
Right.
moving cases along.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right. Do you feel like that is broken in some places, being a lawyer? Like, do you ever get hung up about, you know, what's the next move? Or do you understand the justice system enough? You know, the system you said is a process. You understand it enough to understand that it might take time.
Oh,
There's a lot of people out there that have never committed crimes, and they got family members that have been involved in this system, and it's like it takes years sometimes. Does
Yes,
it just
does.
depend on the crime or what?
Well, yeah, it depends on the crime. The more serious crimes take longer to resolve, and you've got, you know, you're sitting locked up in the Marion County Jail,
Right.
and you're thinking of two words: speedy trial. And we have to go talk to clients and let them know that sometimes that speedy trial, that trial
Right.
within 70 days of your request, is not in your best interest because you don't want your lawyer going into court unprepared. You know, we need to investigate. There are things we need to do. Just because the government puts it
lawyer.
on paper
Right.
doesn't mean it's true. We have to dig into it, find out what the facts actually are.
Right.
And, you know, I've never been locked up, but I can imagine how it feels.
Right.
Being cut off from friends, being cut off from family, and not knowing with
Right.
this accusation hanging over your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have a question. What, can you, tell us a little bit, about your background? Like, what made you want to, practice law and get?
It's a long story, and I'll make it short. When I was a young man, a kid, juvenile, broke into my parents' home when I was at school. My father was working the midnight shift. Came home 8 o'clock in the morning, and this kid had broken in the house and was pointing my father's gun at him and ran out the back door. Well, I was mad because they had ransacked my room. I had like $8 in change in my little cup that they had taken, him and his friend.
Balling.
And the system, I was balling. And the system, he wasn't punished, and I didn't understand that when I was young. How he could break in my house, point my father's gun at him,
Right.
and run away with that gun, and not be punished. So at that point, I said, well, I don't want to be a police officer because I want to wear a suit to work.
Right.
So I want to be a prosecutor. And fortunately, my life kind of fell into place where I went to college, went to law school. I'm from Gary, so I went back to Lake County and got a job in the Lake County prosecutor's office. That's where I started my career.
Wow.
That's how I ended up there.
Wow.
Wow, because there was a short period, in my life where I was this close from taking my LSAT,
Yeah.
and and
You want to be a lawyer, Pat?
There are some days when I
at one
would.
point, yeah.
There are
At one
some
point,
days
yeah.
when I wouldn't wish the practice of law on my worst enemy, but there are other days when it can be rewarding.
Yeah.
There are those days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you ever feel like you wanted to give up when you was going through law school?
Oh, lots of times. Yeah.
First year.
Yeah.
So what made you continue to fight through? Like,
That innate desire to fight.
gotcha,
I mean, I always looked at myself as a winner, and I had to win.
gotcha.
And winning meant getting through this.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that first year of law school is extremely tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and I went to a small school, and then I ended up in Bloomington. So I had never experienced the big campus life, but I resisted temptation. I studied, I played ball, I lifted weights. That's what I did.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
For 2.5 years in Bloomington, that's all I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Young kid thinking about law school, what's your advice to him?
I was kidding earlier. I would recommend they do it because there's so many things you can do with a law degree because the law touches on just about every aspect of life now.
Okay.
And what you guys are doing here,
Yeah.
you need lawyers.
Right.
Every business needs legal advice.
Right.
What I do, people are accused of things by the government. I help them. So yeah,
Laws are passed every day
Yeah.
for businesses and for the civilians. And
There are regulations.
Yeah.
There are more regulations, and the bureaucracy gets thicker, and people need legal advice.
Right.
So yeah.
Do you find yourself as a lawyer defending people who you might know have committed a crime? Like, what position?
I only represent one type of person. I represent a person who's been accused by the government of doing something.
There you go.
Yeah, those are the people I represent.
Okay, so
Okay.
so there's different types of lawyers who focus on specific different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primarily my practice is criminal defense, but I do
Gotcha.
business advisements,
Okay.
I do contracts, I do things like that. But
Okay.
75% of my business is criminal defense.
Awesome. John,
What's up?
my man.
Hey.
I'm just still impressed with I know we've had a lot of conversations about the past and different things.
Yes.
And you're a prominent business owner in Indianapolis.
I'm a prominent co-business owner.
Co-business owner. My apologies.
I
My
got a
apologies.
partner. I
You
got a partner. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it was rough coming up for you.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a lot of people out there that don't feel like they have what it takes to run a business, because once you get in the system, the criminal justice, I mean, when you get into crime and you have a felony, it's hard to get a job. You can have a specific kind of job, but it may not be a well-paying job. You might have to earn your stripes for a couple more years. And people do that anyway, but when you have a felony, it's even harder. So, a lot of people are stuck with the notion that they can't go anywhere or do anything, because of this felonies hanging over their head. Tell us about and how you got started and everything, and just let these people, just talk to them, man.
Well, I came up in Camden, New Jersey, man. Came up in Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey.
It's bad. It's rough. They going through it bad right now. And I was going through it back in the day, but it's really bad now.
Yeah.
I still have my family out there. Got kids out there.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle for them every day, man.
Right.
But what made me transition to the life that I live now, we talking about many years ago.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
I
wrote you off.
Yeah, it wrote me off.
Wow.
But actually I wrote myself off, and I'll tell you why. Because I believe that hype that was outside my door. Like him, he played basketball. I played basketball, and I was good.
Mm-hmm.
I got some guys out there right now probably watching from Camden saying, "Yeah, kid was nice."
Yeah.
However, that wasn't enough for me. What I needed the cars. I needed the jewelry. I needed all that. That's what I needed, and that's what I woke up to, and I wanted that, and eventually I got that. But there was a price behind all that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a price behind it. I had my stints with the law, and what I've done was I figured it out. I said, I'm a part of the problem. You know what I mean? The hood is the hood, true indeed.
Right.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to jump off that real quick to say this. If you do not want the police in your neighborhood, everybody's talking about all these police is always in the neighborhood. If you don't want them in your neighborhood, guess what you do? You police your own neighborhood.
Absolutely.
You police those blocks where people selling dope. They hurting each other over dope or whatever it may be.
Right.
You know what I mean? If a kid is out there defacing property out there, if they out there, whether they're slinging rocks, defacing property,
Right.
you're still tearing up the hood.
Yeah.
That's where you live at. And I was always taught, I can say it, right? Don't ever shit in your own backyard.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
and this is what we have. We have a lot of people shitting in their own backyard. And when we shit too much in that yard is contaminated.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we got to wake up just like people like this man right here. He saw something that happened to him personal, and it caused him to go on a path that he was he was destined to do, and he's good at what he does.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie to you, the man's great. You know, you have people to change their lives. I'm one of those people. You know, I'm living proof. You know,
Right.
you could say whatever you want to say, but people who know me, who really know me, this attorney, he knows me.
Right.
He know where I come from. He know
Yeah.
about me. But now I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that I used to be. I'm actually somebody who I enjoy waking up. I enjoy taking care of my children. I enjoy being somebody who I can rub elbows with people with a lot of money who have never been in trouble. You know, this man introduced me to a couple of senators the other night. You know, I mean, that's nothing for him, but you know, that's great for a kid from Camden, New Jersey, who
Right.
thought that, you know, that could never happen.
Right.
Again, what I did was I finally woke up and said, man, I need to be a part of the solution. And when I was in that world, I actually was in security. I just was in a little different security.
Right. Right. We all know about that. We all know about that security.
You know, I was
For sure.
a different security
Security
officer.
is security.
Exactly. So at the same time, I was good at what I did. And of course, that caused me to have different run-ins with the law and everything. I've always respected the law. Don't get me wrong. You know, they ain't never had to beat me up or shoot at me or none of that.
Right.
Because when they ran into me or they came up to me, I respected that.
Right.
You know, you got a job to do. I do too.
Right.
So I decided to say, you know what? I came here to Indianapolis, and you know, I got into the security. I did this. I had an old friend of mine. He's a sheriff deputy with the Marion County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
And I know this guy from way back. Even when I was doing what I was doing, this dude was still a legal guy. His name is Lamont Craig. And he gave me my first opportunity.
Right.
And man, it was hard because I didn't know how to work. Like I wasn't cool with working for nobody.
Working a 9 to 5.
No, that wasn't for me. That wasn't for me, you know. But I did it because I did not want to be in a place where I could never go home or I'd be in the
So
ground.
you had to start somewhere.
Yeah, and this guy, Lamont Craig from the Marion County Sheriff's Department, he started me out, and I took that, and then I met somebody else, and then that snowballed into meeting different people, and then I started being really good at the whole legitimate security stuff.
Right.
Then that's where I met my partner at. My partner right now is the chief of Brooklyn Police Department out in Morgan County. Brad Shaw is his name. I met him. He was an 18-year-old kid. This kid's like 6'5", you know, to almost 300 pounds, you know, from the sticks. And I'm from Jersey. So that's a combination right there that's just like real different, you know. But we stuck it out. We got our own business. We had $1,600.
$1,600.
$1,600.
A piece or together?
Just one $1,600.
1,600. 1,600.
My man, listen, my man, he was fighting. He was paying child support, trying to pay child support. I was trying to stay afloat, and we took that $1,600. And what happened was, God bless this woman named Teresa Burke. She worked for a property that we first. Well, I worked as the security officer there. It was a place too, and you know I can't name it or nothing like that, but
Sure.
but it was a bad place. My first 2 days I started working there was shootings. I witnessed the shooting, but them first 2 days we got both suspects. The first night and the second night we got them. We got them, and of course with collaboration with IMPD. Anyway, so this manager thought that I did such a great job on her in her community and that I was so good with the people there. She said, why don't you do this yourself? And I was like, not me. I'm scared of that. You know why I was scared of it? Because I was scared that I was going to succeed. See, that's a lot.
You didn't know anything about business?
Yeah, see, that's a lot.
Right.
That
That's a
happens
big
with
factor.
people. Yeah.
Especially when you're from the hood.
Right.
Yeah.
You're afraid
Right.
of success.
You're afraid of
Because
real.
you
You're
don't see
afraid of
it.
real success.
Right.
Because you don't see it.
Right.
Yeah, you know exactly.
Real
Are
success.
you,
Yeah,
are you,
real success.
was you
Yeah.
afraid of the success because the people that know you, or you were afraid of success because you just never been there and didn't know what was coming?
I didn't know that kind of success.
Okay.
Oh, I
Real
knew
success.
success.
Okay.
I knew what it was like to be a star.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, I wanted better.
Right.
And I worked this place, man, for a couple years as for another company, and then I turned around and, you know, this lady, you know, advised us to do it, and we did it. We took our $1,600 to the insurance company.
116.
We took that one $1,600.
That's all it takes.
Like,
We-
you know, like
we
a big
took
bill.
Just
Yeah.
one $1,600. We took that
Best
to the
investment
insurance
ever.
company. Exactly, and we took that $1,600 to the insurance company, got insurance, and then we went to her, and she said, "Okay, I'm gonna be your first property. I'm gonna be your first contract." She was our first contract, February 1st, 2011.
Wow.
Me and my partner Brad, we worked this property. This
Mm-hmm.
property, one property, we worked it. We split the money. And you know, sometimes you gotta wait on that money. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
The business world.
Yeah, so
45 days.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we stressing out because you know, and thank God I had my companion, you know, at the time, you know, she was there working and she you
Yeah.
know she was very helpful. God bless her on that.
Yeah.
And we literally had to split like $3,200 a month between the two of us. But then guess what? Something else happened, and then that snowballed into something else. And then come May, now we in February.
Right.
Come May, we gotta hire people now.
Mm-hmm.
So by the end of the tax season, we're talking 8 months later.
Mm-hmm.
We had $256,000.
Wow.
Okay,
Less than 8. That's 8 months.
Yeah.
less than 8
Less
months.
than 8
Wow.
months.
200.
Off of a $1,600 investment.
That one $1,600 investment. You know,
Wow.
and our hard work, our sleepless nights, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I just chose. We gotta stop making excuses, man. Some of y'all out there making so many excuses, man. But you gotta stop,
Find something you're
What
good
was-
at, that you're good at doing, and make the investment.
right?
Go out there, because life is not over.
Right.
Most people don't
Yeah.
know what they're good at, though.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why
That's
we
the
say
hard
you
part.
gotta find
Yeah,
it.
you gotta
Right.
find
You
it.
gotta
Right.
find it.
Everybody has a talent.
You know, I always tell people, man, get your own ideals, man.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to live off of somebody else's ideal. I had a guy that worked for me who took every ideal that I had and turned it into his own. And guess what? He's no longer in business.
It didn't work.
Yeah, don't worry.
Didn't
it
work.
wasn't-
Well,
Yeah, it
It
wasn't.
didn't work.
He didn't have a passion to do it.
Yeah,
He just
it
seen the
wasn't
money.
original.
Oh, he had a passion, but he did it the wrong way. And I explained to him, you can do it this way and you'll be successful. But he wanted to do it the wrong way.
yeah.
No, okay.
And now he not successful.
Right.
What was your turning point though? Like, what was your turning point where you was like, yeah, I'm go ahead and do the real security? What was it that got in you, or situation or whatever that
I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in prison.
got you?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to take that chance.
Okay.
I didn't want to be killed. I didn't want people
You
talking
have
about
kids and family,
Yeah,
stuff to think about.
yeah. I have all that to think, and you know, I know we live, but I will say this. You know, I got children in New Jersey. I got 2 kids in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a good father to them.
Gotcha.
You know why I wasn't? It wasn't that I was just cold blooded. It was just that I knew that the life that I was living, that wasn't for me to be a family man. That wasn't for me to be, you know, there for those kids at that time.
Gotcha.
They know me, and we have a good relationship today.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to have a change of thought and a change of whatever it is that makes you do things that's not right. You gotta use common sense, and I keep telling people all the time, man, that shit will save your life.
Right.
Believe me,
Right.
if you just use it, it will save your life.
You
know?
took what you knew, from from your youth, streets, and
Yeah.
and you applied that to your business.
Yeah.
The smarts, because a
I
lot
did,
of
because I knew what to do.
Right.
I know
Right.
what to do. Let me
Right.
tell you, the best bounty hunter to find a criminal is somebody who know how to run.
Mm.
Somebody who was a criminal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the
You know where to
casinos,
look.
our casinos in Las Vegas, they don't hire some dude that went to college to try to catch cheats.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
hire former cheats.
Yeah.
Right.
They hire people who
Used to cheat.
used to cheat,
Who got caught
Right.
cheating?
who got caught,
Right.
who got felonies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and when I say that, like, I want to touch on this too. When I was up there in the world that I was in, I was actually in a couple worlds that a lot of guys, I was in that street world, but I was also in another world that a lot of guys where I come from couldn't get into, you know, and you
Right.
know, and I've worked for some very well-known people. I'm not going to mention their names, but as I said, you know, people who know me and know my history know of those people.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, I grew up, you know, I thought those people were it
Right.
until I started realizing, like, man, these dudes just be doing stuff to each other, and there ain't no
Right.
loyalty in that at all. So I
Right.
really don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
You know, but again, you have to make the decision, and you have to say, you know, I got to stop doing what I'm doing. My clients right now, you know, a lot of my clients, they can tell by the way I talk and where I'm from, and the way sometimes I deal with situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that at one point, I think that I was afraid to kind of express these things
Right.
that I'm expressing right now because I didn't want people to judge me.
Right.
I didn't want to be judged. But I can tell you this. I can tell you that if any one of my clients are watching today, I can tell you they will honestly say, you know, that man right there, he goes above and beyond.
Right.
Like we getting guns and drugs out of these communities, just like IMPD is doing it on the streets. You know, and we've worked hand in hand with those people. You know,
Central Indiana
So what's
Protection
the-
Agency.
even all the way up to the ATF.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference in IPD and your company? Or
They're
what you
law.
do?
Well. The difference is that they're law enforcement.
Yeah.
They enforce the laws.
Mm.
We enforce policies.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Sometimes what happens is that turns out to us coming up on things like you know, illegal guns. People who are not supposed to have guns, who has guns. Just an engagement with them people could you know, we could get a gun that probably killed somebody. You know, you know. You know, we had one situation when we came up on 21 pounds of marijuana. You know, and not your average security officers is coming up with that.
Right.
You know, so there's
You
a
turn
lot.
that in?
Oh, of course, of course.
Of course.
Listen, man, I tell everybody all day, man, and this is real. Man, I went from a 900 square foot park, 200 square foot home.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Doing the right thing.
Ain't got time to be.
and guess
doing
what,
that.
man? Guess what I do? I go home and I'm home. You know, Rafael Sanchez of RTV6 always say, "Oh, if it's 3 o'clock, I know you past your bedtime." Yeah, because I don't come
Yeah.
out of my area. I love it being at home. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable at home. I feel safe.
Yep.
And people who live in their homes here in some of these communities that they live in, they should feel the same way that I feel.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your economic status is, your financial, or what neighborhood you live.
Right.
At the end of the day, your home is your safe haven. No one should violate that. No one.
Absolutely.
No
Yeah.
one. It doesn't matter what hood you in. And that's where the hood's got to step in and say, you know what? We don't want to keep having people in our neighborhood coming up short with their lives.
Right.
You know, we gotta make changes.
Absolutely.
And we gotta stop blaming people, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, I agree, man. And you know, I want to make a comment. And I mean, man, your testimony, man, is powerful.
Thank you.
But you know, I'll play devil's advocate. You
Right.
know, what do you say to the person that maybe, you know, listening, that they're in the streets, right? And they may view you as like, oh man, you know, he sold out, or you know, he's working, you know, with the cops. So
Right.
I mean, what do you say to that person that wants to still live that life?
I got you.
You know, even though they should,
That's a good question.
you know, try to do something positive.
Yeah, I'm ready to answer that.
Please do.
Let me tell you. The first answer is this. I truly don't care about someone saying I sold out. Because guess what?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
There ain't no prosecutor, no police could take nothing from me.
Yeah.
You see, and I said this a long time ago. See, when they hunted down Pablo Escobar, see, this is how it works, man. When Pablo Escobar went to war against his country and other countries for interrupting his sales, Everybody over here that was selling drugs was supposed to do the same thing, but they didn't do that.
Right.
You know why? Because it didn't directly affect them. You see what I'm saying? But then look at something. You talking about a man with billions of dollars and couldn't even go into the Walmart and spend none of it.
Wow, it's powerful, isn't it?
You know what I'm saying?
That's-
So now the answer to your second question is this. What I can say is that I haven't sold out anything because and working with the cops, I'm happy to work with the cops. You know why I'm happy to work with the cops? Because I'm not doing anything illegal.
Exactly.
And guess what? It makes it better for people to be able to move into the communities that my people protect. That means that's a profit for the people that I work for, and they're so happy with my business. And I could say this: as long as there's crime, we gonna be around.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna be around.
I don't care what you say.
Right.
I could be, and this ain't about money no more.
Right.
Trust me, this ain't about money no more.
about service.
Because guess what? Any one of my communities will tell you, I'm the same guy. I've paid people's homes have been broken into. I've given checks to them. Don't even know them. Never met them, and I've written checks to them. Ask anybody, they'll tell you. I've bought people Christmas gifts for their children because they couldn't afford it. I've helped people pay their rent just because they was having trouble paying it. You know why? Because I'm a giver. And I believe I can't have nothing unless I give. God's been good to me.
Amen.
And I'm not even a religious man. I'm just a godly man.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I hope I answered your
Yeah,
question.
amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Ralph. I don't want you sitting there too long, man. You know.
Ralph.
He talks a lot.
Ralph was sitting there laughing and smiling too.
Due process. A lot of people have a hard time understanding that. Usually, when a crime is committed, people want justice. You know, can you break down for them the process from the time that a crime happens to the time that due process takes place and so on? Because,
It's a long process.
well, yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't understand that. And I mean, I was one of them. You know, I'm like, man, what? You know, you see a guy, shoot 9 people in the church, and then you see a guy do the same thing, and there's 2 different outcomes. It happens a little bit faster. You know, what's the factor?
Well, the difference. Remember, you're dealing with different systems: federal system,
Right.
and the state system.
Okay.
The church shooter was prosecuted federally, which sometimes moves a whole lot faster.
Okay. When the federal government is involved,
Federal
it goes
government,
fast.
it goes a
Feds
little
and
faster, and just for those people out there who don't know, when the FBI, DEA, ATF knocks at your door, they've usually been working on the case for a year, 18 months. They've got Title III wiretaps, they've got surveillance photos, they've got GPS coordinates. They've made their case,
Right.
and they come to you with the handcuffs, and then they call me and they say, "Well, what can we do?"
Right.
You know, you got to pick those cases apart pretty carefully, but
Right.
you know, most times, you know, you're going to end up trying to work out some sort of deal for that client.
Right.
You know, I'm one of the few lawyers, private counsel anyway, who's gone to trial multiple times in federal court.
Right.
Had little success, but that's the federal system. The state system moves a lot more slowly.
Okay.
Something happens.
Right.
You know, police investigate. They take their time. If it's what they call a smoke or a hot case, you know, they want to arrest somebody real quick, they'll go grab them. Sometimes they arrest them before their case is even done, before the investigation is complete. For a lawyer like me, that's good because
Okay.
then, you know, I can take that apart more easily.
Right.
But then you've got discovery where you have to figure out what witnesses exist, what they're going to say, what is the forensic evidence, you know, is there DNA, are there prints, and then you have to take that apart.
There's a lot involved.
Yeah, there's a lot involved. So yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, people want something quick. If you want it done right, it's not going to be quick.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I do have clients who've come to me and who've said, "Hey, just get me the best deal you can get me.
Right.
I want to get this over with." I mean, and you tell them, "Hey, slow down.
Right.
Let's take the case apart first and see what the government's going. You know, what can they prove." And then we'll decide whether or not you want to accept what they offer or what we can negotiate.
Right.
So, I mean, due process means a lot of different things. Due process means you getting a fair shake from beginning to end.
Right.
Does that happen all the time? Can't say. I mean, as you guys well know, it's sometimes about economics.
Right.
If you can afford to hire a lawyer,
Absolutely.
then maybe you have a better chance of
That's
a better
what I was-
resolution.
That bread, boy,
If,
we can
you
work.
know, if you end up,
Right.
you know, and that depends on the lawyer you hire too. But then the public defenders are good lawyers, but they're overworked.
Right.
They got a lot of cases. They have very little time to spend on the individual clients.
Do
So sometimes
defenders and prosecutors work together? Is it the same person?
no. The prosecutor's
Explain
office
what
is
prosecutors, the public defenders.
that is the person responsible for administering the criminal justice system. That's the prosecutor. They bring cases. They decide who should be charged.
They work
what
for the
should be
state.
charged with. They work for the state. Yes.
Okay.
Public defenders have gone from working to the courts to having an independent agency
Right.
where they are hired by an independent public defender who then
Right.
assigns them to various courtrooms. They are paid by the government, but they don't work for the government.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
Were you
hired
ever
for
a
people who
public-
can't afford
Yes, people who
lawyers.
can't afford counsel, private
Right,
counsel.
gotcha.
Yes.
Were you ever a public defender?
No,
Okay,
I spent 17 years as a prosecutor before I became a private
Gotcha.
attorney. Yeah.
gotcha.
Wow.
Awesome. You work with Carl Brizzi.
He was the elected prosecutor when I was in the office.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else you want to know about that?
No.
I got a question like
That's another can.
Yeah,
As a lawyer-
big old can.
The
As a-
attorney-client privilege. You can't really
as an
talk.
attorney. I take it you were his attorney at one time.
No, I represent his business. Yes.
Okay.
I never represented him personally.
Okay, I got you. My question is, do you ever have? I didn't know. I didn't know. So I just wanted to ask, like, do you? Because I noticed that right now y'all have a good relationship because
Yeah.
you represent his business.
I gotta surround myself with people like
Yeah,
this.
yeah. You got to
Absolutely.
surround yourself with good
This
people.
right here, let me tell you, I'm sorry for cutting you
Oh,
off.
you good?
Let me tell you something.
E40 said it
I
best.
need to rub elbows with people like this.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
This right here is my inspiration.
yeah,
Trust
Wow.
yeah.
me. I'm inspired by this man.
How? Like,
You're
like,
too
why?
kind.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because this man doesn't look at my past. This
Right.
man treats me, this man actually considers me to being a friend. Not only that, let me tell you what he told the secretary. When this man comes in the office,
Come on,
I'm
man.
gonna put it out there.
Oh, boy.
Let us know.
When he come in this office, he don't wait. He's an exclusive client and an exclusive friend.
Yeah.
Man.
Awesome.
So now you've pissed off all the other
Wow.
clients.
Come on.
Hey,
Thanks.
hey. The other clients got to do what he do. You know what I mean? So.
Hey,
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
You know,
Wow.
E40
Like-
always say you keep your lawyer, your bills might be paid. You
No,
gotta keep your lawyer
not only
paid,
that.
boy.
Let me tell you something. Not only that. Let me tell you this. No matter what kind of day I have these days where I go to him and I vent,
Mm-hmm.
and he don't talk to me. He talks to me and he gives me two things. He says, from a client attorney position, this is what we're talking about, and this is what you do. But as a friend, I'm telling you this.
Gotcha.
So the first thing I'm listening to is the friend part.
Right.
Because I'm not paying him a dime to sit there and talk to him.
Right.
And he doesn't charge me a dime to sit there and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a friend
That's a
right
good
there.
thing. Yeah, that's a good
Like
thing.
I always tell him, I don't care if he was stranded in California and all I had was a bike. I'd drive all the way out there to get him.
I mean, that's
I'm going to
You
test
gotta ride
that. I'm
that
going to
bike.
test that
You gonna
one
drive
day.
that bike. You gonna ride that bike.
I'll
Yeah,
test
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
You gonna test the one day on that?
Yeah.
My original question
Absolutely.
was, do you have clients that you like develop good relationships with from after
Yes.
after you've represented them?
Yes.
And
You get to know someone when
Uh-huh.
you represent them, especially in the more serious matters where you're spending more time with them.
Correct.
And you can't help but develop a relationship. I mean, you have to try to keep it professional because you're advising and counseling.
correct.
But you get to know someone, and there are some people I like, and there's some people who contact me. Hey, how's it going? Everything's
Gotcha.
fine. How's the family? Blah blah blah. But there are others,
Yeah.
who unfortunately aren't with us, and are guests of the government somewhere, and it's hard to maintain those relationships. But
Oh, nice. You know, some of our viewers have posed several questions, so I want to get to one. And
Yep.
feel free, both of y'all could, answer it. One viewer wrote, "How do you get the community more involved with the law to improve their neighborhoods without being fearful?"
Good question.
I wish I could answer it in 20 seconds or less. In 20 seconds or less. What statistics have shown is that a vast majority of the crimes are committed by people who know the people involved.
Right.
There are very few stranger crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said earlier, be more involved in the neighborhood. I mean, the joke is snitches get stitches. No one wants to cooperate with the police. Again, there's so many different causes
Yeah.
that I can't give you a short answer, and I wish I could. I mean, when I worked as a prosecutor, I would go out in the communities and did public speaking on behalf of the officers, both in Lake County and here. And it was frustrating because I was a sellout. I worked for the man. I'm
right.
putting the brothers in jail.
Right. Right.
No, but when someone is doing something in the neighborhood and I live in, how am I selling out? I'm trying to keep my neighborhood safe.
Right.
I'm not doing it out in someone else's neighborhood.
Exactly.
Right.
And again, young people don't see beyond tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
They want immediate gratification. I mean, there's so many different things that, contribute to the problems.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have to be the best sociologist and psychologist there was to get to the
Everything.
root of the problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and unfortunately, when I was in public service, it was like being a garbage man. I mean, the can filled up at night. You came the next day, you emptied the can. The can filled up at night. You came to work the next day, you emptied the can. I mean, and it's the byproduct of a free society. I hate to use that cliche, but yeah, when you have a free society, there are going to be people who want to bend the rules and take advantage of things.
Right. I have a.
Jill.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Answer that question.
I would say this, many years ago, even when guys was like where I come from in Jersey, we have our different blocks.
Right.
And many years ago, when we was on those blocks hustling and doing our thing, there was one thing that existed, and it was respect. And when I say respect, I'm talking about respect for Mrs. Santiago, respect for Mrs. Johnson.
Right.
And here's another thing, and this sounds crazy. I used to tell my guys, the dude that's even buying them rocks, you need to respect him too, because you can't be in business without that dude. And that sounds, but at the same time,
And that rhyme too. I hope you know, man, that rhyme.
Oh, I spit bars. No, but what I mean by that is this: guys used to actually take brooms and sweep up the block. They knew that they was gonna be there all day long, all night long, so they was cleaning the block up. They moved out of the way when the elderly people came through.
Right.
They, you know what I'm saying?
It was a
And-
respect.
It was
thing.
respect.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was never one of those things where, somebody go, Lil so we see you doing this, and they go, F you or whatever.
Right.
Today, man, let me tell you something. This is crazy. Today, there is no respect, man.
None.
Zero. Yeah.
Like no respect. Like when
No
you,
respect
when,
for your elders.
when you can sit back and you can put your hands on someone who's old enough to be your mother or your grandfather, and put that on social media and be laughing about that.
Right.
Yeah, come on, man.
That's terrible.
You a monster.
Right.
You a monster.
Absolutely.
You got to change your thought. And then some guys, they don't even care if it's their own mother. That's what we lost. That's what I'm gonna say we, because I love my mother, and I'm sure
Right.
everybody
I
here
love
does.
my
Absolutely.
mother, too.
But at the same time, that's the times have changed. Another generation. That's
Right.
another show.
Microwave,
absolutely.
microwave generation. I call it
Yeah.
microwave
You're
generation.
right.
Ralph, you familiar with the 13th Amendment? Back in the 13th Amendment was basically gave African Americans the ability to to go into to vote and to be civilized citizens, or slavery was over, right? It was the way to say you guys are good now.
Emancipation.
Yeah, proclamation.
Yeah.
So, I think America's history has had a huge effect on the African American community. Not only the African American community, it's minorities in general. And I'm not opening up a can here. This is an open discussion. But basically, I feel like if to get to the solution, we have to understand the problem and the root. And I think that America's history has somewhat shifted in a way that African Americans, some of them, feel, disenfranchised.
Slighted and everything.
And rightfully so. There was a lot that happened in the past. The 13th Amendment, while it was a good thing, there was also some loopholes in there that allowed African Americans to be incarcerated, for wanting more rights or for protesting and those kind of things, which opened up the segue to the the jailing, There's more African Americans in jail than, you know, disproportionately. You know, there's a lot of African Americans in jail, and a lot of it is tied to this history of, you know, that from the 13th Amendment. There's a great documentary on Netflix called 13th. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend that. It just kind of breaks down everything. It's kind of saying like, why are these people so angry? What's going on today with people, and why do they have so many questions? Why is it such a racy thing? And once you see that and you see where it started at and where it come from, it kind of makes sense. And that's not blaming anybody specific. See, we can't blame people today. I don't think anybody's looking at, you know, whether you're white or whether. They're not saying it's your fault. I think they're saying that, look, you guys don't understand that the system that was created back then is still somewhat trickling. It's getting better, but there's remnants of it because of the laws and policies that have been put in place that's hindering African Americans' ability to forget it. You know,
Okay.
because there's always things that kind of roll back. Do you see in your profession? Do you see between the state prosecutors, public defenders, do you see a gap or something that seems to be broken from the time that, you know, African Americans get incarcerated, they're trying to get out? Do you feel like and I don't want to put you on the spot
No, I mean, by all means,
because it's open discussion,
yeah, yeah.
but we see things in the news and we see stuff all the time in different places. Not to rely on the news because sometimes that's not even the truth. But there is no. It's almost a fact that we see a lot of African Americans incarcerated under their own. You know.
Let's start with me.
Okay.
I was a black man who was a prosecutor.
Right.
So, you know, I was vigilant
Okay.
with regard to what went on with my cases and what went on around me.
Right.
I ended up in Lake County in a supervisory position where I was able to see what was going on,
Right.
to stop things that I
Right.
didn't think were right.
We're fair.
When I
Okay.
came down here to Marion County,
Right.
I was a black man who was a prosecutor,
Right.
who moved into a position of supervision,
Okay.
was able to see things,
Right.
and make sure things were on the level. Before I left, I was the number 2 in the office at the Marion County Prosecutor's Office.
Okay.
So I was able to see what was going on and make sure
Right.
that justice was being
Being said.
done.
Right.
You know, I can't say that an injustice was done while my eyes were open and my heart was beating and I was in that office, because, you know, I never prosecuted someone who hadn't done it. Okay, and I had to believe if I didn't believe they'd done it, I dismissed the case. I mean, I've been over backwards to get a guy out who had served some 20 years for a murder he hadn't committed when I was back
Right.
in Lake County. So that's how I did my job.
Right.
Are there people who see, you know, black suspects and defendants as just a number? Sure there are. Does it happen? Yeah. Look, there were 5 of 200 kids in my law school class in Bloomington. 5 of us are black.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a low percentage.
Right.
How many of us went into public service? I mean,
Right.
if you were smart enough to get in law school and get through law
Right.
school back then, you know, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and
Right.
you know, big law firm was hiring you.
Right.
You know, I went into public service because that's what I wanted to do. Not many of us do that.
Right.
So we can't have eyes and be inside
Right.
and make sure the system is working as it should. I mean, people talk about Ferguson, what a joke it was. Sure, it was a joke. But then, you know, Sunshine being the best disinfectant, you know, eliminated the mess.
Right.
It does happen. You know,
Right.
I'm not so naive to believe that it doesn't.
Right.
But, you know, as long as I was involved
Right.
and had something to do with it, I did all that I could to make sure
Right.
it couldn't happen.
Right.
Were there police officers who came into my office when I was a prosecutor and served me and yes sir and no sir, and as soon as they got outside my door, it was, I won't use the word,
right.
it was, yeah.
Right.
Do I know that for sure? Sure, because I've had friends who told me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
he may have come into your office, you know, and shown you some respect, but you know what you are.
Right.
Fine.
Absolutely.
I'm doing my job.
Absolutely.
So to look at this and say injustice it's just buried in the system. In some places, I'm sure it is. You know, in your major metropolitan areas where there is sunshine serving as a disinfectant,
Right.
it's less likely to happen. I mean, I know some of my best friends are still working in the prosecutor's office.
Right.
And we still talk about it. I mean, we square off in court sometimes, but we still talk about things.
Right.
And I know that those people would not engage in that type of conduct. They
Right.
wouldn't say, black man guilty just because he's black.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, does it happen? Sure. Can I say I've let it happen? No, I've not let it happen when I've been involved.
Right.
And are the people that I still know trying to do the job making that happen? No.
Right.
And I can say
Right.
that with some confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
we started talking about this earlier. If more of us got involved in the system, if
Right.
more of us, infiltrated, if you will,
Yeah.
Right.
We can fix it.
the playing field would
Right.
be level.
Right. And I mean, statistically, it's only 13% of African Americans in America. That's hard to do. That's hard to do to get into the game. You know what I'm saying? Because
No,
I mean,
no, it's not. You got to
Okay,
want it.
explain it.
You got to want it.
Okay.
Look, I'm not saying that I'm any better than anybody or any worse than anybody. I grew up in Gary. Okay, I was fortunate enough. Is that funny?
Yeah.
No, but
I had some family that
I was
grew up
fortunate
there, so,
enough
yeah.
to have a mother and a father in my home.
Right.
Dad worked in the mill. Mom was a teacher. She went on to become an assistant principal.
Right.
Okay, we weren't well off by any means, but we were there.
Right.
And they stressed, education.
Right.
Unlike my friend here, I was, it was sports and grades when I was younger, and I didn't figure out what girls were until later on in
Right.
life. But
Right.
once it was determined you're going to college. There's no choice. You finish
Mm-hmm.
high school, that's not the end. You got to go to college, and once you finish college, you have to professionalize.
Right.
So that was put in my mind early on, and if more of us are, and that's why I tried when I was in public service to talk to kids about that. Put it in your mind that there's something beyond
Right.
where you are now.
Right.
You got to professionalize, meaning high
Absolutely.
school, college, and maybe a postgraduate degree, and then you infiltrate. I mean, then you're there.
Absolutely.
You're on the inside.
Even the playing
yeah,
field.
even the playing field.
Right.
So I mean, it can be done. It's hard, but it pays off. I mean,
Right.
yeah. Did I sacrifice things when I was younger? Sure, I did. But now, I can do whatever I want to do.
Right.
I can go
Absolutely.
to whatever restaurant I want to go to. I
Right.
can eat whatever meal I want to eat. I can buy whatever
Right.
suit I want to buy. I mean, it pays off if
Yeah,
when
you gotta give
put
up something.
yeah, you got to
Right.
give it up
Right.
then
Gotta
to
give
have
up
it now.
something.
Yeah, but that foundation that you had, as a kid was good. You had
Yeah,
your mother,
yeah.
and your father, and I don't know
Right.
the background. But I'll speak for, myself. My father was in and out of prison.
Yeah.
So he was never there.
Yeah.
And, granted, we all share our own story. But I come from an environment where it was tough. It was really, really tough. My mother had me, man, when she was a teenager. She dropped out of school. So my grandfather basically took care of everybody. They were kids, he took care of everybody. So my environment, even outside of the home, was tough. Drug dealers and everything. So I saw that. And, I could have easily fell into that even more. But what happened was, I played basketball. So that was my outlet. That is what got me to, go to college. And once I got there, my first couple of years, I really didn't know what I really wanted to do because I didn't really have that example. All I knew was basketball. But I told myself if I want to do better, I have to surround myself like what, Gio said with, people that are, that basically inspires him.
Yep.
So that's what I did. And, I got, into business and a lot of the gifts that I have, I didn't really know that until I started to surround myself with people and, I became interested. But there are a lot of people that they don't think like that. They don't have that, there's kids right now that are, in that environment and they probably want to do it, but they're fearful of what their mother may say or what their cousins, may say,
Right.
like, "Oh man, you
Environment.
ain't gonna do nothing, man."
Yeah.
So what do you say to that kid that wants to do it, but they're just like afraid because they're so, conscious of what somebody else.
I was afraid. I was afraid of, we'll call them the bad kids when I was younger because, our neighborhood wasn't the best neighborhood and there were the bad kids. Granted, it was in the 60s and the early 70s, and, no one was shooting and acting crazy, but, I was afraid of those kids, and, like I said, I had mom and dad at home, but they worked all the time. That's what they did. You know, Dad worked the mill, he worked shift work. There were days, I would go days without seeing him because he was, you know, at work when I was at school or whatever. But you have to know that there's a world out there. You can't tell me that these kids don't, you know, social media, television, movies, books, whatever. There is a world out there beyond where they are, and they
Exactly,
know
yeah.
they can get to that world. I mean, it takes work. You can't just want that immediate gratification. You have to work hard and avoid becoming a statistic, like you said. I mean, you're right. You get that juvenile arrest, you get in the system, you get on paper, you get violated. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle, and you never end up getting out. That's how so many young men find themselves trapped in that, you know, that vortex. Laws have changed now where you can get your felonies removed. You can get those things expunged. I mean, there's a list of felony-friendly businesses that I keep in my office. You know, you get convicted of a felony, there are places that will hire you. It may not be a job where you're making $250,000 a year, but you can make a living wage, and you can feel good about yourself, and not, you know, not be a drain on society. So it's, you know, it's about knowledge. It's about knowing the world is out there and wanting to be out there and not just accepting that situation that you're in. I mean, I know it's hard to say because now I'm selling out again. Well, you know, you're telling me I don't. It's not good that I live in the hood. No, you live where you live. But if you want to do more, you can do more. You have to believe that you do more. I mean, you would never. Of course, I was one of those people who said, "You'll never see a black president in my lifetime." And then Barack
I'm sure
Obama
everyone said that, yeah.
gets elected. And I'd like to think that so many young kids then said, "You know what? I can do it
Exactly.
wherever
I can
I
do that.
want to do."
Yeah.
And you know, we can only hope.
Can I ask you a question about the gray area?
Yeah.
Being a lawyer, and we know we see TV, we see these type of things that go on. I just have to ask, since we on the gray area, you got a client, and there's I guess you get into a debate or whatever in the courtroom with the other client and what's going on, and then that judge calls y'all both up to the podium and says, "I need to talk with y'all." And then, you know, they do that little whisper thing, you know, and then we go to break. Boom. We're gonna go, you know, we're court, you know, we're gonna take a break.
What are we saying up there? Is that what you want to know?
No, I don't really know what y'all saying. I'm talking about, okay, you know, y'all go to break, and then he say, "Well, both of y'all meet me in my office." You know, the judge.
Yeah.
We want to know, do deals go on back there?
Sometimes, you know.
Or is it like clean up this, what y'all doing?
I
or-
will not use names. But I'll
Correct.
give
I
you a
don't-
situation.
Yes, sir.
Several years ago here in Marion County, I was, you know, supervising some lawyers, and I went in the courtroom to check on a case. The guy had been charged with voluntary manslaughter,
Okay.
or had been charged with murder. I can't remember what it was. He was accused of killing somebody
Gotcha.
under, you know, unusual circumstances. So I walk in the courtroom, and the judge sees me, and she summons me up to the bench.
Okay.
You know, doesn't summon the lawyer, summons me
Oh,
up there and
okay.
says, "Mr. Staples, I don't know what's going on in this courtroom, but this is not a murder." I said, "Message received, Judge." So I went and got my person who was working at the prosecutor's office. I went and got the defense attorney, and we went out in the hallway, and we talked about what we could do to resolve the case. And we cut a deal where I think this guy pled guilty to the voluntary manslaughter as a B felony and took 14 years. Instead of murder, which would have exposed him to,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
something bigger.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, that happens sometimes because the judge will see where it's going. You know,
Gotcha. Now-
oftentimes, I think a case pled in the criminal courts this week before the jury came in the room. You know, they were still talking. I mean, you're always talking to the other side about what can we do to get this done.
Gotcha.
You know, as a defense attorney now, my job is twofold: take the case apart, you know, and if the government can't prove what they've accused my client of, show that in court, or two, minimize my client's exposure. You know, if he's looking at this, and I know the government can prove he did this, you know, how about we have him punished for this, and let's just make this go away. So yeah, those conversations are always going on.
Are there monetary deals that go on
No,
with the
no,
judge?
no. I've never. Well, I just lied. I won't use names because I
That's
think the
fine. Yeah,
guy's
I-
dead. This was in Lake County. A guy offered me a bribe once when I was in the prosecutor's
Wow,
office,
wow.
and it scared me.
Meaning the guy that you were representing?
No. A guy I was prosecuting.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, his lawyer sent an offer through the bailiff, and I said, "We're not. I'm gonna pretend like we didn't have this conversation. You go back and tell him that we didn't have this conversation, and that's the end of that.
Gotcha.
It's never happened to me again."
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, money, I am not aware of any money ever changing hands. No money has ever been given to me. I've never paid anybody for a deal. Yeah,
But
so-
there are people who probably
But the offer, but
take those deals.
Oh, well, back before I was a prosecutor in Lake County, there was, there's stories, anecdotal about the magic drawer where you go in and you leave your tribute and your case gets taken care of. And there
Yeah.
are people who,
Right.
I'm from Lake County and people have gone to jail in
Right.
Lake County. People who are in the criminal court system out there are continuing to go to jail. So, I mean, it's
Is
they
there
talk
hope
about
for
the
Lake
Chicago. It's home. My parents are still there and I go home and see them every weekend.
Yeah.
And, the neighborhood that I grew up in is not the same neighborhood that.
that Glen Park.
No, I'm on the west side.
Oh, what's that? Okay.
You go to
okay.
Roosevelt?
No, I went to West Side.
West
I
Side.
did.
You said West Side.
He was jumping up.
Y'all look at you like, boy, I just told you West Side, boy. You don't talk about the Belt. You know what I'm saying? Pulaski, you know what I'm saying?
That's one of the well known because that's Michael Jackson's high school, right? He was right around the corner.
He never went to high school.
Man, I'm about to say Michael Jackson ain't never
Michael
went
Jackson
to
was in
school.
California. By the way.
He was playing with that mouse in California, boy. Joe said you ain't going to high school, boy. Told you, Michael.
But I think this is outside the conversation, but I think I'm looking at putting an investment in Gary because I think that somebody's gonna go to Gary and put a lot of money into it and try and make a pretty penny off of it.
Because why? Because it's right by Chicago.
The problem with Gary
Yeah.
is that all the steel industry
Yeah.
It's gone.
is gone, but the grounds close to the lake are so contaminated that you can't turn that into real estate. You can't. Those mills are now on skeleton crews. My dad worked in the mill. All my friends' fathers worked in the mill. I mean, that sustained the area for a long time. And when the mills went down back in the late '70s, early '80s, that's when the economy went in the toilet. And they thought that by bringing those boats up there,
Casinos,
that
yeah.
would reinvigorate the economy. But you got people working at what we'll call partial employment. I mean, you're not making a decent living wage. You're not getting 40 hours a week, and that it's sad. But I look at the pictures of Gary when I was younger and before I was born, and it was a nice place.
Yeah, it was nice.
Place. I remember walking down Broadway with my mother and my brother to go to the Palace Theater. The old theater with the velvet curtain that would open up
Right.
and real butter on the popcorn. But now I go home and it's depressing. An old classmate, a woman who used to be a prosecutor with me, is now married. Karen, what is Karen's last name? I forgot. Karen Freeman. Yeah,
Freeman? I used to work for Karen Freeman.
You used to work for Karen? Yeah.
Attorney General's office.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Karen left the prosecutor's office in Lake County, I got promoted to her spot in felony.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And we went to middle school together too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Great
Yeah,
lady.
but-
Great lady too.
Yeah, but I mean, I joke about this, and I hope Karen's not watching. But why would she want that job? I mean, that's Karen's smart.
Yeah.
Karen's a good lawyer. Why the hell would you?
You
want
think that she
job?
sees something that when that's in your hometown, maybe you have a heart for it. You feel like you can fix it, but it might be too. Some people say it's too far gone. But
I hate to think that, but it could be. I mean,
Yeah.
every time like I said, I go home every week now, and I still feel good about being home. That's where I grew up. I know every street, every corner. Memories of this place, memories of that place. A lot of the places don't exist anymore, but it's home. And you're right. I hope that she's trying to make home a better place, and I support her. I wrote her a check, many years ago. But I just I hope that there is a future for Gary. I really do.
absolutely.
Can I
Absolutely.
ask G a question?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Jersey.
Jersey.
Camden.
Yeah, Camden.
Speaking
I'm sorry,
of
Camden.
speaking of Gary,
Yeah, speaking of Gary, you know what I
Speaking
mean?
of Gary.
Camden, you know what I'm saying? No, but growing up in Camden and then, living in Indy now, two different lifestyles. One's much faster, one's a little slower.
Absolutely.
I'm not for sure. Is your company only in Indiana?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever thought about branching to Jersey, or do you feel like,
Too much bureaucratic,
gotcha,
too much red tape.
gotcha.
But let me just say this. I'm gonna touch on this. I got a friend of mine, kid I grew up with. Me and him played ball together.
Okay.
His brother is one of the greatest ball players that ever come out of Camden, New Jersey. His name is Kevin Walls. Played for Louisville, along with Milt Wagner and Billy Thomas, which I grew up with them guys. They were a little older than me, but great people, man. But my buddy, right? I didn't know that he was an undercover police officer for so many years, working out of the FBI office out in Cherry Hill.
Wow.
I'm not gonna mention his name or nothing like that, but I grew up with this kid, and me and this kid was a little scrawny kid, man, but man, he had fire in him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I used to have to calm him down, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy that he texted me tonight and he said man, I'm proud of you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He said,
Yes.
man, I've been in the FBI office since 2004. And I'm proud of you, man. You just, you know, I remember the big gold chains and the cars and all that
Right,
stuff, you know.
right.
But I'm proud of you. And let me tell you something, man. When you can get people like that to say that they proud of you, man. And this dude's done been around a lot. This dude commands 40 guys.
Wow.
I mean, he supervises 40 agents.
Wow.
And what I'm saying is, he's the police over there. He's the FBI over there. So think about it, man. He's seen a lot.
Right.
He's seen a lot. So when someone like that can say, I'm proud of you, man, that is the greatest feeling in the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then and same thing when I can see this man every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just the greatest feeling in the world to be able to know where I came from and now where I'm at. You know, you know, I'm getting ready to head over to Jersey next week. I was supposed to do it last week, but I'm gonna take 35 pairs of Air Jordans over there.
Sweet.
Awesome.
And give them. I got 35 pair of Air Jordans that I'm gonna give to my little shorties up in North Camden, where I come from, Pond Point.
man.
My man Kevin Walls, excuse me, my man Kevin Walls, he's out there, man. He's got the basketball program out there. This man gives up his time.
What's the name of it?
I don't specifically know.
okay, gotcha.
I just know that you know, I went down there a few months, well, last year, and I hadn't been in that gym, man, in a long time, like 30 years.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And it felt great to be in that
that's good.
gym. And it just, like, I can remember that park right there by the school. We would ball there from 6 in the evening to 2 o'clock in the morning. My man's mom used to come get us. Point Middle School.
Point Middle
Yeah,
School. Okay.
it's
All right.
and you know, I went to Woodrow Wilson. He went to Camden High.
All right.
We were basically always going at it.
Going at each
Especially,
other.
you know, every year they have what they call the turkey game, man, and it's a
Yep, it's a
you know
big game.
it's a big game.
It's a real big game.
And I used to ball with him and his brothers. It was him, Kev, Kurt, Ben, and their other brother, Heavy. I used to ball with them guys, and they was all Camden High. And I would use what I learned from them, and I would go do it in practice at Woodrow Wilson.
There you go.
You know, so at the end of the day, I'm proud of all those guys right there. I mean, guys like Milt Wagner. I know you guys, you know, Jawan Wagner,
Jawan
you know what I'm
Wagner,
saying?
yep,
Played
yeah,
for
I know,
Cleveland and
yeah.
everything.
Cleveland,
You know,
Memphis.
had, you know, health problems,
Yep.
shortened his career. I'm proud of him because he was.
Yeah, he was nice.
Let me tell you something.
No, he was cold.
He was on NBA, 2K, and he was just out of high school.
Yeah.
He
Wow,
was in the
nice,
video
man.
game, only
Yeah,
one.
he was cold.
Allen Iverson.
Wagner was nice.
Yeah, Allen Iverson, you know, kind of, you know, took care of him too. So, Mike Rozier, let me shout out to him. Mike Rozier, he, you know, I think 1984, 83, 84 Heisman Trophy. You know, that was the man right there. Played for Woodrow Wilson High School. He played for Nebraska. You know, we got all kinds of people to come out of Camden, man. There's all kinds of famous people to come out of Camden, man. And, you know, some of those people made it, some of them didn't.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and if people just start changing their thought process, a whole lot more people can come out of these areas
Right.
and do well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is awesome, man. You know, these conversations need to happen. They're tricky. You know, some things you know, people don't want to talk about. Some things people try to shy away from. The gray area is definitely that platform where, you know, let's talk
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely.
You know, and we like to have open discussion because there's a lot of people out there still wondering. You know, a lot of the news and media outlets are all paid to say, you know, what they need to say, whatever the top headline is. But there's so much more happening. You know, there's so much more happening.
It's actually all about. It's not even about reporting the news anymore. It's about who gets it out there first.
Yeah, it's about
no
right.
matter
Right.
what it
Yeah,
takes.
yeah.
Right.
It doesn't matter
Right.
if there's facts. It's just
Who can
just,
get the
you know, what's
viewers
hot
first?
right
Who
now.
got
I
the
seen
brand
I
first?
seen
Yeah, exactly.
I seen an interview with Denzel Washington, and he broke it down the best. You know, it was a really good interview, and he broke it down. He had those reporters
Yeah.
thinking like, damn. you know?
Absolutely.
Well, I wanted to ask that question. Has there ever been a situation that you've been in where you was like, all right, that's it. I ain't doing this no more. I done seen enough. You know, or this just ain't for me. You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about this, like the
What you doing
Central
now? Or
Indiana?
that-
What you doing
that-
now, not
okay,
before.
yeah, yeah.
oh.
I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to keep going back.
Let me,
you know what
let
I'm
me,
saying?
let
Where
me,
you at now.
I'm gonna tell you a short story. When we first started this business,
Uh-huh.
my partner, God bless him, you know, again, these people, they have their way that they pay you 45 days or so.
Yeah.
So,
Or
So,
you have your lawyers.
when we
sitting in
started,
the-
so one day we waiting for these checks to get here. So now I'm like, yo, where's the head office at? Like, cause I'm going up there.
They playing
You
with
thought
your
you was back
money.
in the
Now,
street.
these people owe us like $2,800.
Right.
I need to go see it. That $2,800 is like 30 days old right,
Right,
now. I
right.
need to go get that
Yeah.
money.
Right.
And here he go. He's like,
Man, this ain't the
yo,
street.
we can't do that.
This ain't the street.
you can't do that, man. This is not that life. I said, oh, you right. So now all I do is I just complain to him now, or I
Yeah.
complain to my family.
He handles it like he needs.
Yeah, I complain to my family. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
I'm a
Yeah.
big complainer. I complain
Yeah.
about everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're all
Like
human,
this
man.
mic right now is too low. You know what I'm saying?
You can move it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, but we're human. You know what I'm saying? And I think human. You know, you can be the most positive person all month long, but you're gonna take one day where somebody gonna say something they not supposed to, and that might send you over the edge. You know, so and I always tell people, man, you know, one thing we have to do is we can disagree with each other. You know, I may disagree that you don't go to Lake County. I may say, man, you should go to Lake County. He's like, I'm not going to Lake County. It's too bad. You know, but that doesn't mean I should hate you for life. That doesn't mean that I should shun you and I should never talk to you again. No. I think emotions is getting the best of people today in today's time. You know what I'm saying? We can still be friends and unite and disagree with each other.
Can I touch on something?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Touch it.
I want to touch on because we haven't talked about this.
Touch it.
And this is something we need to talk
For
about.
sure.
Okay.
We got all these people out here, different people, man, out here, and everybody thinks that this is a police problem. This police brutality stuff. And I know some people gonna go, oh, Nair, you really selling out now. I don't even care about that. What I want to touch on is this. I know police officers. I know police officers on IMPD. And I will tell you this: I got people around me that's police officers. Okay, my children's mother is a police officer. My partner is a police officer. My nephew is standing in that next room right there. He's a police officer. My friends are police officers. I got black police officer friends, white police officer friends, Spanish police officer friends. And let me just tell you something: they people.
Right.
Bottom line,
Absolutely.
What we got to understand is most of the people that are doing these crazy things, that's wearing these uniforms, they're just people who are themselves out of control. Now I will say
Small
this,
percentage of people.
small percent, but I will say this also too, is that those people have bad days, just like all of us.
Right.
I pulled up to my attorney's office yesterday.
Why are you going to tell this story?
Hey, tell it, man. Because that's what I was teasing him about earlier when he first walked in.
I pulled up to my attorney's office yesterday because it's downtown and it's like 20 minutes, or it costs me sometimes $60 a week just to go see him because I get tickets.
He
Anyway,
doesn't put the quarters in the meter.
right.
Go on.
I'd rather just pay the $20.
It's
But no,
it's
listen.
that Jersey coming
I
out.
pull up and I see this woman sitting there with hazard lights on. So I do the right thing. I go around her. I see she's waiting for a vehicle to leave. So I go around that vehicle.
Man, look at Ralph right now.
Next thing you know, man, I see a guy walking towards the car, so I put in the position. As soon as I pull in position, she steps on her gas and almost rear ends my car. Not only that, she jumps out of her car. And she's approaching me. Of course, I'm
Ready?
at this point, I'm getting out of my car. So now, guess what?
Man.
It ain't even a Mexican standoff. We because you approaching me, and no matter
Right.
what, I'm going to defend myself. 'cause
It's
I don't
turning
know
into
you.
something else.
It's
right.
turning into something else. Remind you, this is a parking spot. But let me just tell you something, man. She started talking all this crazy stuff to me, man.
Wow,
And she called me a redneck. She said, "You racist ass redneck." Now,
And I was just
now,
outside trying to enjoy a
doesn't-
cigarette.
and my attorney sitting over there. Ralph standing over there.
Oh, you see it all.
I saw every second of it.
I bet he was like,
Yeah, he's standing there watching the whole thing. So,
like, damn.
so then this leads into her doing this. She goes and she gets on the phone and she start calling somebody. Now, first thing I'm thinking, yo, it ain't gonna be what you think if you had somebody come downtown on Market Street. They done already had a problem the other night.
On the advice of counsel, I'm going to tell you to stop right there.
You know? It's sad.
Look, it's like a counsel, not free.
And I'm going to take that advice. But here's my point.
Yeah.
This was a parking space, man.
Right.
yeah.
This was
Right.
a parking space. Could you imagine what could have transpired from a parking space?
And then it has happened.
It has
It has
happened.
happened.
Yeah, because
So,
emotion.
Right.
Let me finish the
emotion.
story. Because I was standing there enjoying my cigarette when this all went down. And unfortunately, this person was coming into my building.
Right.
So I tossed my cigarette butt into the ashtray and began to turn to walk in. She began to yell at me and another guy who was standing there how we stood there and watched this happen and didn't do anything.
Right.
And I said, ma'am, that gentleman is my client. You know, I saw what you did.
Right.
And he was not doing anything to you.
Right.
And I tried to walk away, and then the MFs and everything else got
Oh,
started
man.
to the elevator. In the elevator, on the way. I said,
Wow.
ma'am, I've not engaged you in conversation.
Wow.
I've
So
not
y'all rode
engaged
the
you."
elevator up together.
No, he
No,
went on
I
down.
left.
He left. I had to go back inside because the smoke break was over. But,
Okay.
You know.
I had
Yeah,
to
and
do-
that
yeah. I New York parked, first of all.
New York parts.
I just double
Right in the
parked,
street,
got out the
double
car,
parked.
handled my business with my attorney, and then went back. But here's the crazy thing. And this is where race comes involved.
Right.
There's a white guy sitting there.
Right.
I had a few choice words for him
Oh,
because
boy,
what
yeah.
he did was he kind of gave her that fuel.
Oh, the ammo.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
because
Going.
this is what he didn't do. He should have just got in his car and left, so I could get in the parking spot. So he gets out of his car and he walks back towards her car, and I said, "Well, aren't you leaving?" He says, "No," but he really was. He goes back there trying to calm her down. So my point is this, and this, I'm not even going to say she was a black woman because black women are strong. You know what I'm saying? They strong. They confident.
Absolutely.
She was an ignorant woman.
Absolutely.
She was in that race.
That's the best way
She
to do
was
it.
she was in the ignorant race.
They come in all kinds of
this is
races.
a topic of interest to you and only you. Sir.
This is-
Let's.
I can
She
say
was
it. You
part
might
of
not
that
be able to
race.
say
public
it.
You know
wants
what I mean?
to talk
She was in
about.
the ignorant race.
Okay.
I can say it.
But she called me a redneck. Now let me just tell you this. You see how I'm dressed today. I dress like this every day. I wasn't driving, and I ain't trying to,
Just a nice car. Just say it.
I was driving a
He's
nice
driving a
car.
big
on his
body.
cashmere coat.
He had that big
Yes,
body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He probably had the big body
You know,
out.
I had that
So
Lambo
you're
out there.
Puerto Rican.
This is cold out.
black.
You're Puerto
Yeah.
Rican and black, and she called you a redneck. I mean,
It does, but here's the
It's
thing.
hilarious.
It's still
That's
the
crazy.
ethnic
Right,
part about
right,
it is
right.
first of all,
is.
my neck isn't red
right.
whatsoever, and whatever her
It was yesterday
perception,
when you got out of the car.
her perception of a redneck is,
Oh man.
like everyone else probably
hilarious.
says, I don't fit that description. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, you
that's
don't fit
that's
the
I don't
description.
fit that description. So by her being an ignorant person, because I'm not going to use her
Right.
skin color, she
Right.
was just ignorant.
Yeah.
But I just basically saying this, that right there could have turned into something that it didn't have
Crucial.
to turn into.
Right,
All
right.
she had to do was say, you know what? I've been waiting for a parking spot. This man taking all day to get out of his. Can I just get that one?
Right.
Being the person that I am, I would say absolutely, because my attorney's right there. I'm just gonna run over there and talk to him.
Right.
And I would have parked in New York all the time. That's what I do.
He said,
Right.
"Park in
I'll
Detroit."
park, double
Hey,
park.
why?
I don't care.
Right.
So at the end of the day,
Ralph.
we almost got into some racial stuff, man.
Right.
That
Some
causes
silly
racial
tension.
stuff. And
Absolutely.
let's just get back to this police thing. Let me say this. That all these police officers out there, man, a lot of them are afraid, man.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They're afraid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
man.
let me tell you something. Some of them have been programmed to be afraid. Do you
Right.
understand?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From training.
Yeah.
From training
They-
stance.
and let me tell you something. I put on a training class.
I was in there.
For a small police department.
His training.
No, like I was in the 8th class for IMPD for 10 weeks.
I put on a small training a training class for a small police department, which is predominantly white officers.
Right.
And I gave it to them in the raw. I showed them how they should deal with people who they feel like are, obnoxiously
right.
not criminals.
Okay.
I'm just talking about people who
Out of
take
control.
opportunities or they just get out of control.
Right.
And I told them this can either one or three things. They can either get their department sued and never be the police again, or go to prison, or they can all leave there happy campers.
Right.
And I want to say this about police officers. Sometimes, man, you don't have to give that person that ticket. Sometimes you just don't, because sometimes that might be hurting somebody even more than they should be, and it's just one of those things
Right.
where somebody might be in a financial bond, so you don't want to keep putting them in that situation. Sometimes some things is not turn your head, but at the same time, man, it really ain't that important.
It ain't that,
Right.
it ain't that
It's,
deep.
it's not that deep.
You know what
I
It's
mean,
a lot of stuff going on.
even if they're breaking the law, though, I mean, if they're going, 80.
I drive down the highway and I got police officers doing 100.
Yeah, I got a
Wait.
story for that. Like,
Where you going? Where you going? I don't
Well-
see no lights or signs.
Or they
I
put
was-
their lights on, man, just to
And then pass you
go
up.
through lights.
Oh, they been doing that.
Yeah.
forever.
yeah, so I was
Yeah.
driving from Michigan. I went to Michigan to do the water thing at Flint. Me and
Okay.
my company, we
Okay.
took a U-Haul,
Okay.
packed it, went to Michigan, dropped some water off. So I'm coming back from Michigan, driving down the highway, and me and everybody, my mom and everybody was in the car. Now I was speeding. Mom got a new Impala. I said, I'm opening it up just a little bit. I was speeding. I ain't gonna lie, I was speeding. So my man comes up, pulls me over. He says, "Sir, do you know how fast you was going?" I said, "You know what? I was speeding." I just was honest. I said, "Man, you used to be lying to you." Yeah, I was speeding. He said, "Well, you was going, 95." I said, "I think I was going 94 to be exact." I was like, "Shit, let me go one under." But then he said, in the state of Michigan, you got, 3 choices. He went through all this. He said, "You got 3 choices." He says, "I can take you to jail." He said, "I can take your license and you can come back to Michigan, or you can pay $100 and then you'll still have to deal with the situation." I was like, man, them 3 options don't sound about right, so I just paid. So I'm sitting here looking at him. He go back, run my stuff and everything. I ain't got time. For one, I ain't coming. I'm like, yeah, I got $100 right here. Here you go. I said, "You gonna give me a ticket? Like, how I know you gonna take my 100?" I did ask him, "How I know you ain't about to go to the bar with my
Right.
$100?" Because I had never heard of it. I was like, $100
Mm-hmm.
just to let me go. What's up with the ticket? And I get a ticket.
Right.
And so he did that. No sooner than that joker man got in his car, got behind me. I'm sitting there like, man, let him. I'm gonna pull off because he want to see me pull off, and I'm gonna.
They have to
speed.
do that. They have to let you pull off first.
Okay, so
You
I'm,
have to.
I'm like, I ain't gonna speed again. I got my
Right.
seatbelt. I'm ready.
Right.
Man, this joker, you can hear him. He just revved the engine up, went on down the highway as fast as he could. And I said, "No, what the hell? You just sweated me about $100 ticket."
They call
You just-
that. They call that a silent run.
Man,
Wow.
hey man, I was hot, man. And so,
me.
as he's saying, you don't always got to give that ticket. Now, was I upset? No, because I knew I was speeding. I was wrong. You know what I mean? But at the same time, don't come behind me tripping that I'm speeding, and then
And
you
then you
go
speed.
and then you go run
Yeah.
off, and I'm like,
But
man.
but too, I've met police officers out there, man, that honestly, like some of these communities that we work in, man, if it wasn't for some of these police officers to
Right.
show up
Oh
on these
yeah,
scenes,
man, it would crumble.
Right.
I mean,
crumble.
we
Yeah.
honestly, I got a good agency. My company's good. We good at what we do. But let me just tell you this, man. It takes those police officers to show up to actually have our back
Yeah,
and say, you know what, this is wrong. You going to jail. I mean, we need police officers to take action, but also too, we also need officers to show up and have an
presence.
ideal, well, not a presence, but they have to have a better way that they deal with things.
Gotcha.
Because it's sometimes it's bad when you got a police officer to show up and he got an attitude with you.
Oh,
Right,
man.
right.
And you
already
Yeah.
scared.
You mean you as the security?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean
okay.
it's happened all the time. But let me just end it with this: you have police officers out there right now that don't mess with other police officers because they know.
That's
I mean,
true.
You know, and this is the one thing that I want to say too. A lot of these agencies or departments, they all have this bickering when it comes to the color of their uniform. They all have these, you know, these
Explain that, like
pissing color.
sheriffs and
if you're a
IPD.
sheriff, yeah, if you're a
State
sheriff,
trooper, sheriff, IPD.
they all
Fishers hate IMPD.
they,
boy.
I mean,
Oh,
they all have
God,
this
I hate 'em.
this dislike with each other. They have to
Karma,
work
too.
together in certain situations, but a lot of times, you know, they have problems because of
Right.
their department. But what I want to tell you is this: it's a shame that it takes sometimes police officers to come together as brothers and sisters when one dies. When one is you know at a funeral, one in the department. That's when you see the law enforcement togetherness. Seriously,
Right.
Do you see?
Right.
Do you see police? Is it hard for your company, or was it hard for your company to get respect as what you do? And you know what I mean? Like police show up and they're like, all right, you know, you know what about the way.
We've been through it, and let me tell you something. We've gone on 6 years now. We've had situations. But let me tell you something. We've had good situations and good police officers out there that show up and they support what we do.
Right.
They respect what we do because,
Right.
mind you, let me tell you something. You got a lot of people out here impersonating the police. Trust me, man.
Gotcha.
There's dudes out here, they wake up in uniforms. I know a guy who got married in a security guard uniform.
Wow.
Come on, man.
I'm not playing with you.
Married.
Married in a security guard uniform. And I'm telling you, these dudes, these are the guys.
Flashlight
Let me
cops.
tell you something. We get a lot of people that can't be police officers. So when they get an opportunity to do something like this, they all of a sudden magically swear themselves in by the Constitution that they're now law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
There's been a
instead
few
of-
That's a
people
self-esteem thing.
Yeah,
That's a
and-
self-esteem thing, though.
yeah.
Like
No,
they
it's
want
not.
to feel.
It's not a self-esteem thing. And let me tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's called you crazy thing.
Ego.
Because
Ego.
if you think for 1 second that you can get away with violating people's rights and running around pretending that you the police, and you crazy.
So they're out there like mall cop. What was that?
Nah,
What's that movie called?
Paul Blart.
Yeah,
yeah.
Paul Blart.
You got a lot of them out there. But honestly, man, there is and I'm a guy who used to run from the police. So when I could tell you straight up that there's good police officers out there, man. Trust me, man. Everybody, you got.
believe it.
No, and what we need to
Yeah,
get back
I know
to.
a lot of them.
What we need to get back to, and what police departments need to get back to, is this: when I was a kid, growing up in the hood in Camden, I used to follow two cops around on the beat that they walked.
Right.
Yeah.
Play-Doh and Mike. I'll never forget those guys. I'm talking about in the 70s, man. We used to walk around those guys. And when a bike got stolen from someplace, they know who door to knock on. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, people knew those police officers.
Right.
Because the police officers knew the people in the community.
Right.
The problem with today is police officers don't know the people in the community, and the people in the community don't know the police officers.
Absolutely. They
You
need
know.
to build a rapport.
Exactly, and that's what they need to get back to. And I guarantee you, man, it's a lot of people in these neighborhoods, man, that definitely want the police there.
There's somewhat of a respect that needs to be established, right? I mean, because a lot of the officers that work the areas that they're given, you know, as a job, don't necessarily know the areas, and they don't really care to. You know, they just kind of, you know, take on the calls and watch and do what they have to do. It's just a job to them. It's a paycheck.
They got supervisors.
They got supervisors,
They
yeah.
have protocol.
Right.
Protocol isn't for you to get out your patrol car
Correct.
and just start walking around.
Right.
Back in the
that's changing because I think that the mayor has asked that they institute more community policing.
Absolutely.
And that involves knowing your beat, knowing your district, and getting to know
Right.
the people in your district. And that's, you know, those programs start and stop a lot. I mean, back when I was a prosecutor, they kind of insisted on people doing that, then they stop it and they start again. I mean, that would be a better way of doing things, but you know, it depends on how much time and interest
Right.
the police department has in.
Takes more people too.
Yeah.
More people.
There's some
But yeah,
guy
they're
in,
trying to do it.
Right.
There's some guy. I think it's either Atlanta or Arkansas. Or something. Some police. He's like some huge.
I know you're talking about. I forgot his
Instagram
name.
officer.
Officer Tommy.
The
Yeah.
white guy that goes
Yeah.
around.
White guy, Officer
Yeah.
Talks to all the little black kids and
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome guy.
Yeah.
I mean, his wife is black.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying
that's
his
what I
wife
see,
is
yeah.
black. But guess
But
what?
that's incredible what he does,
He
though.
is the true definition of community policing.
Yeah, I seen
Right.
that. Yeah,
True definition.
Absolutely.
Seen that, Pat?
Yeah,
Straight up.
yeah,
If,
yeah. When he
if,
goes around,
is if the
he takes
communities
pictures back
respect
while
you as an
he's-
officer, then they're willing
Yeah.
to give up that information too.
So what's
They're willing to give up information that needs to be given up to help protect the neighborhoods.
what's
They're not
stopping
as
the rest of America from doing that?
What's stopping them?
Yeah,
Themselves.
Yeah, fear. You know, I mean,
he's
there's
in Arkansas. Somebody said
is it Arkansas? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I knew it was Atlanta or Arkansas. Y'all.
Oh, Leslie House. Hey,
I'm just trying to figure out what's
Yeah,
stopping the rest of the police around America from doing that.
What's stopping them?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Like
Community
being
policing?
community
I
policing,
mean,
like he is.
it's from the top down. I mean,
Gotcha.
the department can institute it, and
Right.
the official.
If
I
they're
mean,
willing
they'll-
to-
they'll follow orders. I mean, if they're told to get to know this beat and do it, then I'm sure they'll do it. But
Right.
it's it's a question of whether or not the departments want to institute those programs.
yeah, because I mean, like right now, you know, it's dangerous, man. For
Yeah, I
mean,
know. Not
think,
everybody can't do it.
you know,
but
for
I'm-
officers, man, to try to do that, you know, especially on the east side, you know, I mean, you know, get out of the car, you just, walking up and down Emerson.
It's
You know,
dangerous
trying to meet
everywhere,
people.
man.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
I get it.
dangerous everywhere.
Yeah,
as part of my experiences, like for about 9 months, you guys may remember this, back in '97, we implemented what was called a homicide task force. And, I was part of that. Me and another lawyer, I think it was 8 IMPD or IPD guys at the time, 4 sheriff's deputies, 2 FBI agents. I mean, Goldsmith had decided that we were going to attack the problem head on. So, I was actually, I was deputized as a deputy sheriff. I was carrying a sidearm, and I was out there on the street. And the hostility that we faced, granted, we weren't doing community policing. We were out trying to make a difference, but, the doors being slammed in our faces, people
Right.
refusing to cooperate. I got to see it firsthand
Yeah.
and see what these guys went through on a daily basis. I only did it for about 9 months. And it can be frustrating. And you're right, on one of those bad days when you're having that bad day and someone slams that door in your face, you may put your foot in that door and you may say some things you regret.
I mean, why do you think that the public view cops as like
The enemy.
yeah, exactly that, but they view firefighters as heroes.
Well, I
That's
guess
'cause
the,
It should be
television,
equal.
the
media.
basic premise is that firefighters save lives and police officers don't. But police officers save
Man,
lives.
cops
as
save
well.
lives
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah, but the
It's-
media make us think the police are different. Like
media.
they're on a whole nother level than a firefighter.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
yeah.
So the television gonna lie to you and tell you that this is what they are. Like,
Right.
I mean, back in the day, it used to be, hey, every school, hey, Officer Friendly's gonna come. He's gonna visit and talk to you. I work
Right.
at a school. I ain't heard
Right.
nobody talking about no Officer Friendly.
McGruff ain't even wanted in the
I mean,
schools
you
no
know
more.
what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I mean, think about that. McGruff. I mean, so
He's right though. I mean,
it's true. Like, I work at a school. I ain't heard nobody say, "Hey, we're gonna bring a police officer in, talk to you guys." Da, 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 da. It don't even exist.
Kids don't even want to be police.
They don't
no
even
more.
want to be.
no, I mean they don't
They
because
don't.
they kids have, and adults too. They don't even understand what snitching really is. But that's a whole
No.
nother. They don't have a clue
They
what it is, man.
Can I explain to people what snitching is?
Please break it
It's a
down.
gray area. You can
Hey,
explain
hey,
whatever.
please break
Let
it
us
down.
know.
Let me tell you what snitching is, man. Snitching is this. Snitches is when you get involved with a situation and it's not right and you get caught for that situation and then you decide that you can't go to prison or you don't want to deal with that situation. So what you go do is, I know who killed Jimmy Hoffa. I know who killed Lil Ray Ray. I know where we can get 10 pounds of this and that. That's snitching.
That's
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you this. Snitching is not you come out on your front step and this fool done shot somebody dead in front of your house.
Exactly.
Because
You are a taxpayer. That's your community.
Because it was over a candy bar.
Right.
And you ID'd this person as the person who fired
Yeah.
this weapon.
Yeah,
That's not snitching.
Thank
Don't
you.
get it
Thank you.
twisted. Don't get it twisted. And that's the problem right now. y'all better leave them video games and them videos alone.
Yeah.
Movies.
Yeah.
Because
Television.
exactly. And then it's the whole part of when you got people to talk about they your brother. Man, listen, man. Listen, it used to be I love you and you my brother. Now all you hear is this, and that's the sign of a snake. That's what a snake sounds like. It ain't even love no more.
It ain't.
Because
Right.
if somebody love you and they your brother, they will help the police find out who murdered you.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. You know,
Absolutely.
Because realistically, you and especially if you somebody you ain't built like that, you not about to go out and find out who did this. It just going you just gonna throw a T-shirt on and stuff, and then you gonna run around and you gonna act wild at a funeral. And all that,
no,
you know
man,
what
that's
I'm
true,
saying?
bro.
That
Yeah.
shit is over with,
Yeah.
and then a year from now you gonna be pouring out liquor and shit, and then come on, man. When you all just say, you know what, man, we know who did this. At least let's help out. I'm telling you, man, they got it all wrong, man. That's
Yeah.
not snitching, bro.
thank
Right.
you. It's not.
That's not snitching. I pull up to a bank and I say, hey, Ray, I'll be right back, man. I'm gonna run in here real quick. Give me this ride to the bank. I pull up to the bank and I come out, and the bag bust open and it start turning. The car's turning red, and you get caught. And you don't even know nothing about me going to this bank. I was just giving them a ride.
He's not snitching.
You're not snitching.
Thank
Right.
You'd be a damn fool if you sit there and go
Think
through
that
the
you snitch.
judicial system
Right.
trying to be tough and trying to be loyal to somebody who didn't even tell you they was robbing a bank.
I was
Right.
Because
driving
obviously
to
that
the
person
bank.
that robbed that
Right.
bank
Straight up.
didn't care anything about you.
Nothing.
At all.
Nothing
Absolutely.
about you, bro.
At
So
all.
be careful what you consider snitching and not snitching out there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Definitely, and families of people that your people's involved in criminal stuff, drugs, and I mean, and I don't want to get away from anything, but I'm noticing this trend. There's a lot of people out there that know their family members are involved in heavy crime and different things, and then when they're either killed or jailed, it's free so and so, or they open up a GoFundMe and say we need money for so and so. When
Yeah,
it's
for
like.
just a funeral
But
and everything.
and
or,
here's the catch:
Whatever.
when and I'm one of those people. Like if somebody passed away, I want to go see what kind of person they were. So I go to their page. I'm trying to find out like what kind of person was this? What happened? And you can see them with money and guns. You're like, okay.
Holding up a rocket launcher.
It's hard to have sympathy for
He
people
would never
who
do something like that.
yeah, it's hard to have sympathy
It
for
is.
people and to support those families when
Seriously,
you
though, yeah.
when you constantly see them with guns and money, and it's like whatever, it's your page, but when that
Get
person
by it.
goes to jail or passes away, the life they were living, that's all they left for people to think of them.
Or they want to beat the witness up or the victim's family up in the courtroom.
Right.
Like I've seen that.
Right.
Like your son just gunned this kid down, and now your family mad at his family.
Right.
For what?
Right.
You took those people's son.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
should be mad at your child
Absolutely.
for doing that.
Right. Absolutely.
Especially when it's one of those situations where it's over nothing, man.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
over
sure
nothing.
you guys
Yeah.
won't be
Over nothing.
surprised to know that we spend a lot of time advising our clients to stay off of social media.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The moment they come in.
and sometimes they don't listen.
Yeah, they get on there, man. I'm about to be up.
Now, that's a good
Yeah.
thing. How much does social media play a role in the legal system when you?
Oh, a lot now.
Let me
mean,
tell.
that's a good-
Let me
you
tell
know?
your audience right now. If
Right.
you are thinking about committing a crime, the first thing the prosecutor's office does, the police do, is they get on Facebook. They look at your page and they look at your associates, so they know the
Instagram,
question.
Twitter.
And they look at Instagram and Twitter. And what these people in the jail and at CCA don't know is that they devote people to sit back and listen to
Yeah.
all your phone calls. Your little codes
Wow.
are not fooling anyone.
Right.
So
Right.
we spend more time advising clients, once they get in trouble, okay, don't do this. Shut your page down. Don't put this on your
Right.
page.
Right.
Don't talk about your case on the phone. And I've been lucky that a lot of my clients, most of them have taken my advice. I know other lawyers whose clients have hung themselves with social media and jail phone calls.
Well,
So-
according to y'all fan base here, we know your clients listen. They love you, brother.
Oh yeah.
Hey, boy, your whole
Best
family
lawyer
over
in
there, boy.
Indiana.
Best lawyer in Indiana. I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna get a business card.
Business
You know what I'm
card,
saying?
but I
Who I'm calling.
Oh, his
you know
face.
what?
Yeah.
How
I
many
did
kids you say
just
you
open
had?
up. I did just open. I have a daughter. I just
No,
opened.
no.
Oh, I thought you meant him.
Oh, his
I
family over
I
there.
opened up an office in Crown Point recently, so I'm
Okay.
expanding from here, up to Crown Point, so I can get some more work back at home, serve the clients back there
I
better.
ain't driving
Right.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's still home. Like,
Absolutely.
It's home.
Okay.
So the moral of the story is don't be a dumb criminal.
Hey,
I mean, don't be a criminal at all.
Yeah, there you go.
but if you're gonna be a criminal, don't be a dumb criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, because you get hung up by
You get caught being stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling people how to commit crime.
Right,
but,
right,
you know,
right.
there's always
Right.
something that someone does that's dumb
right,
that leads to their arrest.
right,
And then I'm supposed to work a miracle,
right,
right,
right.
and undo
Yeah,
it.
that's what we pay you for.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
How many
I
times?
paid you. Come on, man, I made you go to school.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I like the part when they go in, and this is what I tell people, especially these dudes out here who be toting these guns around. You need to watch about 10 or 20 episodes of 48 Hours, the first 48.
Hey, they for real on that.
Yeah.
Let me just
Yeah.
tell you this,
Man,
man. Let me tell you this. You damn near have to wear a plastic bag to get away with shooting somebody, and then you better do it in hours, and it better be a silencer or
Right.
or a slingshot, one of the two.
Right.
But what I'm saying is this: you see most of these dudes, they tough Tony out on the street with them guns.
Right.
Man, they get in that they get in that interview room.
Start singing.
That one lady, she
And they go, what you want, a Pepsi and a sandwich? And next thing you know, shit, he done solved the crime. He's sitting there, or,
Right.
or let him start talking about Jesus. Next thing you know,
All
he
you gotta
crying.
do, yeah, you
that lady
Right.
from Memphis, boy, she
Yeah.
cold, boy.
And then you
you
go,
offer
and,
them at a 2-piece and a biscuit
Yeah.
from Popeyes. Hey, they gonna be
and then
talking.
they go
She
from
sent one dude to McDonald's, boy, and she came back. He whistled, boy.
they go from that interview room, crying and everything, over to the jail,
Right.
and now they tough again.
Right.
Well, the
Yeah.
message to all this
You know?
is you have a constitutional right to silence. You should most
Use
likely
your-
exercise that right to be quiet.
Exercise.
Fifth Amendment, right?
Plead the fifth?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
don't
plead the
plead the
fifth?
fifth. You say, I'd like to speak with my attorney. I'm not
That's
going to
it.
give a
That's
statement.
all you need to say.
No,
Right.
And the
Okay,
interview
okay.
is over with.
And the
Use
interview's
that
over.
everywhere I
Right.
go.
But, unfortunately, there are people who think they're smarter than the police or they're going to talk their way out of a situation. No. I mean, it
The
just
more you
doesn't-
talk,
I
it
did
just
have
doesn't
a-
work that way.
right?
You know,
I
you know,
did.
and they'll come in and say, so and so already told on you. We got evidence, man. Like, look, we got this, we got
All
you.
pointing to you.
All pointing to
and
you.
the Supreme Court has said that trickery and deceit are tactics that can be used by police in order to get someone to give a statement. And
Yeah.
if people
Hey.
buy that, we've already know what happened. Here's your chance to tell us what happened.
Right.
And I'll go talk to the prosecutor and maybe they'll cut you a break.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
and-
blah,
and-
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and see, I'm not trying to give anyone any ideas, but if you're in that room
I don't know shit.
and the cops are like, "Yo, we got this on you, we got that on you," you know.
Then stick your
and-
arms out and say, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Stick
Well,
your-
if you got all that here, man, come on.
let's go.
Don't waste time.
I don't know
But
shit.
but if they're like, "Hey, we got all this on you," but if you tell, if you give us something, we can give you. You already know they don't have anything.
I'm about to give you my attorney.
Or I like the part when they do start telling about everything, and then they be like this, and they involved in it, and then they go like this. So, am I going home?
Right.
No, sir.
Really?
Nah, you ain't going to the crib.
I told y'all everything.
You got a new home.
Yeah, and then these dudes actually so much again. If you gonna cooperate, just remember that if you're not really solving no real crimes, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, right now you got people right here living in Indiana and all over this country that have committed atrocities, and they did like 5 years. You know why? Because they had something to tell.
Right.
It was important.
Right.
I tell you, like these mob guys, they kill a whole entire village, and they get like 5 years,
Right.
and they get set up. They get set up to nice homes and jobs
Wow.
and all that. Trust me, man.
Wow.
But when you from the neighborhood, man, you ain't got enough people to tell on, man.
ain't got enough people.
So if your money ain't long and you ain't got nobody to tell on, you need to just sit your ass down and watch TV.
Exactly.
That's it. Stay out of the streets, man.
got your
Exactly.
Stay out of the streets.
Exactly. Hey, I'm gonna go to a question. One of our
Okay.
viewers posed. Ashley, her name is Leslie House. She is our chief editor.
Hey, Leslie.
Hey, Leslie.
She asked, can we get clarification on our rights when approached by police?
Good question.
Okay.
Yeah.
The famous Supreme Court cases are
Good question.
Terry versus Ohio and Adams versus Roberts. A
Yeah.
police officer can approach you and ask you to identify yourself.
Okay.
Okay? If I notice a bulge in your pocket and I recognize that bulge as what I think is a Glock 40, I may pat you down for officer safety. But, they're what we call consensual and non-consensual encounters.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you have a right to silence. You don't have to say anything. You can identify yourself and ask by a police officer. You have to obey lawful commands. It gets to be a fight about what a lawful command is. People talk about resisting arrest. And some people have been charged with it,
Wow.
based on that. But your rights when approached by a police officer are, if a police officer asks you to identify yourself, he can do so, and he can search you for officer safety if he perceives a threat.
Would he have to have reasonable suspicion in order to pat you down?
Yeah.
like a Glock 45.
Like I said,
Yeah, I mean, I know that. I just
the bulge hanging out of
Yeah,
your
exactly,
pants,
yeah.
Or that large rock-like substance. That's how they write the report. I
Right.
noticed a bulge that looked like
Right,
a large
exactly, yeah.
rock-like substance
Yeah.
in the pocket.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Yeah.
I touched it, and it felt like what I believed to be crack cocaine from my training experience.
Now, can I answer that on the private sector?
Go ahead.
Okay, you in the private community, and they have security or protection agents, and they approach you, and they say, "Hey, let me see your ID." You don't have to show them ID. I mean, a lot of people in security right now probably saying, "What the hell are you telling people that for?" I'm gonna tell you why. Because that's an easy way for you to violate somebody's rights. If someone doesn't want to give you their ID, you're not a law enforcement officer, so they're not required to give you ID. Now, however, they can say, well, since you don't want to tell us who you are,
Right.
we going to go ahead and trespass you. And trespassing is because contractual interest in that property.
Is there a felony involved?
They have to comply to police officers.
Right.
And that is not true. I don't want anybody thinking that, and also too, security officers or protection officers, they cannot pat you down.
Okay.
They cannot pat
What's
you
the
down.
difference of identifying self like between an officer and a security agency?
Badge.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of security guys that look like police officers. Let me just say this. Stop assuming. People assume too much.
Right.
Stop. Get your balls together. Get your bearings together. Look at the person's badge. Ask that person for ID. Well, sir, may I ask who you are? Are you a police officer? If that person says no, he's not a police officer, then as long as you're not being disruptive or tearing up nothing, you can just go ahead and walk away. Honestly, I'd rather for my guys to deal with people who just go and walk away. See, I want people to ride past my communities and go, man, we don't want to go over there. Our whole thing is to basically make people not come there. We don't want you there.
Right.
Right.
And
Safer
my
that way.
right, my clients are happy with that because my clients don't want police all on their properties
Right.
and in their communities and stuff like
Right.
that.
It looks
But
bad.
right, so if we could just start, like, there's a lot of people. That's a whole nother thing. Escorts. We used to be able to use red and blue lights way back. Let me tell you something. That had to stop because everybody was starting to use those red lights.
Right.
And technically those lights are for police officers only. Okay? So when everybody started using those lights, basically they started pulling people over, running red lights, just doing all kinds of crazy things. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of messed up the business. So there was a police officer for IMPD that was instrumental in changing that light law by the name of Chris Nielsen, and he helped change that law. So now I just want I'm telling people this now is because if you have a vehicle and it's a red light or a clear light in front,
Right.
and it's going,
Yep.
that is not police. That is not the police. Police have red and blue lights. Okay, blue on the passenger side, red on the driver's side.
Right.
Okay, so just remember that. And again, if you don't feel comfortable, just call 911.
Right.
Let them know, hey,
Absolutely.
I'm being
Yeah, I
pulled
did
over
that.
by somebody.
Absolutely.
I
And-
did that a couple of weeks ago.
Do
We
that.
had,
Did it
At
work?
our- at
Did
our
it work
school.
out for you?
No, it was really kind of hilarious. So these two little kids got in a little altercation at my school. So the one parent was like, "Yo, I'm about to call my friend that's a cop. This, and that." And I was like, "You know what? That's totally fine with me. Do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
just want to make sure the kids are safe."
Right.
So as time goes on, I'm like, where your people at? You know what I mean?
Right.
I said, well, you know what? Let me call IPS police, and they showed up. I said, where your people at?
Yeah.
Where your people? I'm gonna go here because
Right.
she could have called anybody. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Right.
I agree. So when you don't know, you just call the police.
Just
and they show up.
read badges, man.
Yeah.
Because if you're not a police officer, you're not gonna
You ain't gonna have a badge.
you're not gonna have a badge that says police or sheriff
Right.
or any of that right there.
Right.
Read a badge. You know what I'm
Does
saying? That's
Does your
it.
company do private security?
That's what we do.
For say you got a star
Like, yeah.
or
Oh,
entertainer.
yeah. we kind of call that
Personal
like
security,
entertainment
that's-
security
yeah,
for the
that's what I meant,
entertainers and
yeah.
stuff. Yes, we
Okay.
we do that. Actually, a couple years ago, for a couple years in a row, I did personal security for the Candyman, Tony Todd,
Yeah.
from the scary movie from Chicago, the
Chicago.
Candyman.
Absolutely.
I'd chauffeur him around. I have a limo,
Okay.
so I chauffeur him around and everything, and made sure he was okay.
Okay.
I did that for him a couple times.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we do that.
Okay.
And
Just wanted
He
to
didn't do
ask for the viewers.
he didn't do the Candyman voice, did he?
nah, he you know what? He's actually a fun guy. I had to take him to a strip club.
Right.
He requested that, and I took him there, and all the girls there kept, "Oh, y'all been scared of you ever since I was a little girl," and all that. And I'm thinking, well, damn, why you
Why
in his
you
face
all up in
now?
his face? You know what I'm saying?
Trying to get that moolah.
Right.
Great, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey man, this has been great, man.
Yeah,
And
it's great.
we could talk all night.
Oh,
We definitely gonna have to bring you guys, especially you, Ralph. We definitely got to bring you back,
I
man.
just sat here and was quiet.
Providing
He
good
did all the
knowledge.
talking.
Oh, no,
And
man.
we're gonna have both of y'all
Wait a
back.
minute, you had a good 13-minute run. I can go back in there and show it. I can show it to you.
Man, we appreciate y'all, man.
Gentlemen, check the clock.
We appreciate y'all,
Absolutely.
man.
This has been wonderful. Lots of lots of clarifications, lots of explanations. All this helps people. There are people who don't get out. They may not even have cable, but they have a Facebook, phone, and Facebook, and this is maybe their only news source, of that's substantial. So I thank y'all for coming.
Thank
What
you.
we do in these last few minutes is like if you could tell the people that are viewing anything, in reference to the topics that we had today, what would that be?
Can Mr. Staples answer that question
Sure.
so he can get some time?
It's kind of like closing remarks.
Yes, it's closing remarks.
There you go,
because,
Mr. Staples.
and that's not fair because my closing remarks usually end with the words, "You can't find my client guilty. Thank you very much." So, yeah.
There it is.
Like I said, I'm just trying to help. I mean, I love public service. I'm in the private sector now. I'm trying to help people.
Yep.
And do the best that I can. That's
Great.
that's my closing remark.
But if you could give them advice, because and when we do the closing remarks, we just try and say look, yes, this is the criminal justice system. This is what's happening. This is what you can do to help.
Well, when you get the jury summons show up, because we need a cross-section of the community as jurors. We can't have jurors looking like one person or another. We need
There it is.
a wide variety of people.
Yep.
Because everyone brings their unique experiences
Right.
to the jury box.
Right, and some people don't show up because for whatever
because it's an
reason.
inconvenience, or
Right.
and to be honest with you, black people tend to want to get off jury service by saying, I can't judge people.
Right.
And and as a prosecutor, I was always telling them, no, you're not judging people. You're determining whether or not I'm proving you that this person did something at this time, in this place.
Right.
Good people do
Oh,
bad
man,
things.
but-
Bad people do good things.
Right.
We're talking about this. As a
Absolutely.
defense attorney, I'm saying, please, would you please sit there and shut up so we, you can end up on this jury? But no, I'm
Right.
kidding. I'm kidding. But
Until they
yeah,
in the
be
situation.
involved in the system.
Right.
If police ask you for help out.
Absolutely.
Give a statement.
Absolutely.
Tell what
Yes.
you know.
There it is.
It'll make the community better.
Absolutely. Thank you.
G.O.
I just want to say that I'm very thankful for you guys allowing us to come up here. At least let me come up here.
sure.
Hey, thank you, man, for coming.
Ralph Staples.
Both of you.
All I can say is, this is a great attorney right here. This is a great attorney right here, and I hope that he's going to come back for you guys, and
We hope so.
It would be my pleasure.
Awesome.
It would be my pleasure.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
we talked about that, and I think it's a great idea.
Yep.
I mean, he's a great
Yep.
person, and I tell you what, if I was in some type of trouble criminally, that's who I would have.
Ralph
defend.
Staples, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Can we give it up for Ralph Staples?
Ralph Staples.
All right. You see the little
And-
blush?
Yeah, and tell people about your agency. I mean, there may be some people viewing that that don't know too much about it.
Okay. We are, like I said, we're Central Indiana Protection Agency. Myself and Brad Shaw. My partner Brad Shaw for 6 years now. We've been close for a long time. He's a police chief and everything, so he's in law enforcement. We're just out here, trying to just make it and take care of our families and give a few people jobs so they can take care of their families.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank all the clients that I have that basically keep us working all year round, because there's
Absolutely.
a lot of security companies out there, man. These guys be getting cut. I got guys that's working. I mean, they
Right.
working all year round.
Right.
And not to mention, a lot of what we've done have actually changed a lot of these guys' lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
right.
And most of the people that work with me because I don't say people work for me, they work with us.
Right. Right.
I
right.
tell people straight up, don't call me boss. That ain't
Yeah.
what it is. You know what I
Right.
mean, we
I hear
work
you.
together.
Yeah.
So what I mainly want to say is that you see something going on and it's not right, man. Just keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you could be that next victim,
Right.
and you definitely would want someone to speak up for you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if the street guys out there is hating on what I say, guess what? I don't care.
That's what I'm talking about. I clap to that myself.
All right. Yes, sir.
Thank
Duke.
you.
It's your boy Duke. I just want to say, man, first and foremost, thank you guys for coming on
Thank
the Gray
you.
Area Show. It's a new show, so we appreciate the support.
Absolutely.
For those of you out there listening, my advice today is, man, listen to the professionals. You know what I mean? It's a reason why they're professional at what they do. They know more than you. Because you didn't go to law school and sit back there and read, do all that reading and things like that. And I'm just saying, as a security, protection, law enforcement, my man's been through enough training. Sometimes you gotta sit back and be quiet and listen to the people that know more than you. So protect your neighborhoods. Ask for help and do the right thing. At the end of the day, the motto is don't be good, be great.
Yeah, it is. T. Wills.
Hey, listen, this has been very informative, man. I mean, this entire dialogue, man, the show, I want to thank y'all, man, for coming on. Learned a lot, and I'm sure that our viewers, have too. I mean, they love Ralph and they love you, John. I mean, there's about 1,000 I love yous on here. hey, so that's good,
You guys
though.
are well liked, man.
I mean, that is, hey, listen, man, everyone, in this room, like, we all share a different story, right?
Absolutely.
But our goal is to help people.
Right.
Like, the core of us is to, help people. So it doesn't matter where you come from. We all have different backgrounds, but we all are aspiring to become great, to become good at something. If anyone is listening and they think, hey, I can't get out of any situation, I mean, you can. You just have to put the work in, and you have to surround yourself with people that are better than you in certain areas, and just be willing to be humble and grow. you know, I'm a living example of that. And as you know, other four, you know, gentlemen are too. But you can be what you want. Stop using excuses. You know,
right.
we all come from the hood.
That's right.
I mean, just aspire to be better, you know, and just make yourself better. And if you have kids, just, you know, provide the best situation for your kids and your family. Period.
Awesome. I mean, and you know, again, great dialogue and everything that's going on. What I want to say to people is that look at the people around this table, and you know, we didn't just wake up and you know, go about our day. We actually invested ourselves in being here to have a great conversation with people who may not know anything about this, and just take it for what it is. Share it, get the word out there, watch it 100 times. We don't. All this is voluntarily. I want people to know that none of this is paid. We don't have any investors or anything like that. This is all voluntary, and we are the voice for the community. Use us as a platform.
Exactly. There's no hidden, you know, there's no hidden agendas.
There's nothing hidden behind it. This is all voluntarily because we owe people that.
Absolutely.
You know, and we have to do that more individually. You know, and we're going to continue to try and be that platform.
And collectively.
But I also want to say that, you know, John here is a living example of someone who came from the streets of Camden, New Jersey, and was written off, and is now a successful business owner by taking a chance at taking something that he knew and turning it into something. And we can all do that. This is America, where we have that opportunity. You can go to school. You don't have to work for somebody for the rest of your life. Take your passion, what you know how to do, and create something out of it. That doesn't matter if you got a felony, a misdemeanor, whatever.
That's right.
You know, this country has given you the right and the ability to create a business. And that doesn't mean that you have to create something entirely new. You can create something that's been done, but do it a little bit different. Everything is being done. That's already been done. The guy comes out with this is an example. Guy comes out with tissue paper. There's how many other tissue companies?
Yeah.
That's just an example.
Mine's a
You know,
soft.
nothing is impossible.
Yeah,
You know, so I thank you guys for coming on here, and we'll do this again for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want you guys to continue to help us, support us, share this. This is the Gray Area Media. Our website is www.thegrayareamedialive.com. We are your voice. We appreciate your viewership. Continue to help support this, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.